Hey everybody, welcome to Zenny62 on YouTube again and live. And let me read to you the news if you don't know it already. It goes like this, and it workers at Raiders Allegiant Stadium site test positive for COVID-19. This was 3 hours ago that this was posted. I was informed about this now 2 hours and 30 minutes ago, 2 hours and 45 minutes ago, actually. It reads like this: a worker at the construction site for the Raiders Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas has tested positive for COVID-19, officials confirmed to Fox 5. According to Mortensen McCarthy Builders, the worker stayed home from work on Friday of last week after not feeling well. The worker has not returned to the site since, the company said. Mortensen McCarthy issued a statement Wednesday afternoon. Quote, Mortensen McCarthy was notified today that a worker on the Allegiant Stadium project tested positive for COVID-19. Per the Center for Disease Control guidelines, and as a result of implementation of social distancing protocols, the worker was not in close contact with any other project worker and has been off-site since last week. The individual is now self-isolating for 14 days and will not return to work until cleared to do so. Mortensen McCarthy previously implemented stringent cleaning protocols on the project consistent with CDC guidelines. In accordance with these protocols, the area where the worker had been assigned and the surrounding vicinity was immediately shut down and sanitized. Work continues in other areas of the project that remain unaffected. Oh, Jesus. Mortensen McCarthy has the following preventive policies and procedures in place on the project to minimize the risk of coronavirus. Strict Centers for Disease Control and Prevention CDC guidance, including directing team members who feel sick or have health-related concerns to stay at home. A verbal health screening of all workers is conducted prior to beginning work on site. Implementation of social distancing and recommended personal hygiene practices. Reduced worker concentrations. Increased sanitation and cleaning throughout the project site, including high traffic areas, which are sanitized multiple times per day. Those areas are further monitored to ensure appropriate social distancing. Hand wash stations and sanitizers are available throughout the project site. Working with customers and trade partners to adjust workflows as necessary. Implementation of teleconferencing where applicable. Large group activities were suspended March 16th. Our highest priority is the safety and health of our team members, project partners, and the community. We will continue to follow guidance issued by the CDC, along with local, state, and federal health authorities. We will implement further changes or adjustments as needed to help protect the health and safety of everyone on the project. And this was breaking from Vince Sapina, and test positive for coronavirus. And then basically worker says he wasn't feeling on Friday, so he stayed home and hasn't been back on site since. Mortensen McCarthy will have a statement shortly with additional details. This is developing story. Check for updates, which I'm sure there are many. On top of that, get this. Workers at Resort World Las Vegas test site test positive for coronavirus. Now, if you don't know what Resorts World is, that is another gigantic casino resort that's under construction very close to the Wynn and Encore in Las Vegas. And that was posted on March 24th and updated 3 hours ago. Today is March 25th. So that happened a day before this report. And it goes like this. Resorts World Las Vegas has confirmed that a worker on the project tested positive for coronavirus. On March 23rd, Resorts World Las Vegas was notified that one of its subcontractor workers tested positive for COVID-19, Resorts World said in a statement provided to Fox 5 Tuesday morning. According to site records, the worker was last on site of the Resorts World project on Tuesday, March 17th. the statement said. Resorts World said that the workers' crew was immediately notified and instructed to stay at home and self-isolate for 14 days. In addition, the area in which the worker had been assigned, along with the surrounding vicinity, had been shut down and is being sanitized. Resort World added. The respective areas will remain closed until April 1st. According to the statement, Resorts World Las Vegas and W.A. Richardson have implemented the following presented policies. It's basically the same policies I read before, and that's it. I'll tell you what bothers me about both these reports. First of all, is the fact that Mortensen McCarthy wrote this. They wrote, Mortensen McCarthy previously implemented stringent cleaning protocols in the project consistent with CDC guidelines. But Mortensen McCarthy had not posted what they had done until now. And then they wrote that the area that the worker was in was sanitized after this was discovered. There was no evidence given that they actually sanitized anybody or took any action before this was found out. And so now, I, as one who thought, okay, yeah, keep the thing going, but because you want to send a positive signal, but what's wrong with shutting it down a couple of weeks to show solidarity? I mean, now I think you have to, because it was just revealed here that large scale aspects of the project were shut down on the 16th of March anyway, which means that no one really knows. And that's why, you know what? Now that I piece things together, that's why the Stadium Authority meeting was canceled, because they didn't want it to be revealed during the course of a meeting that large scale aspects of the project had been shut down on the 16th of March, which was 3 days before the scheduled March 19th meeting of Las Vegas Stadium Authority. So the bottom line is, no one now really knows when this thing is going to be open. And they really should say that, and really just stop trying to paint this fantasy that this thing is going to be open on time and all that jazz. Anyway, I'll open up to comments. What do you guys think about this?
I think that they end up in Raiders. Oakland leave a little bit too early.
Yep. Yeah. And Corey Brown says, good evening. And Corey says they're way too nonchalant about this matter. He says they share time clocks, break rooms, portable toilets, and equipment in some areas. Great point, Corey Brown. Rob Iman says, what up? I hope everyone is doing their part to flatten the curve tonight. Yes. And I'm not going to repeat what this last one is, so I'm going to put the user in a timeout and give that user the chance to contemplate their ills, and then remove that at the same time. Richard Hike went outside. Hey, Richard, call us back. We'll add you. Let me see if I can add Richard to the conversation here. Hold on a second, folks. There is a way to do this. If I press add to call Richard Hike. And hold on a second. I'm doing this live and in person. And everybody remember that show In Living Color?
Yep. I do.
That was a trip. You remember that? My God, that was a trip.
They just had their reunion.
Huh?
They just had their reunion.
They did? When? What?
It was the 25th reunion.
Oh, man. Was it on television, you mean?
I believe it was on television.
Wow. All right. So we will add the number. Call the number.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing? Let me see if I can add you to the call. I thought.
Yeah. I'm actually driving.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why don't we?
Yeah. No,
On Richard's thread, it said he was driving, so I don't know if he was able to pick up.
Oh, he picked
Or,
up.
I guess
He's
he is.
he's on. Yeah, he's on. He picked up, but he's driving.
Okay.
Hey, Richard, you want us to dial back, or how you want to do it? Richard's driving. We don't get him in trouble. So we will move
I talked
forward.
to you guys when you guys.
Okay. Rob Iman says, could OSHA be getting involved? Let's see what the tweets are on this as we talk about this. So, all right. Richard called, and I believe Donald and you guys are making comments. We're picking up people as we speak. So, what are your thoughts? Continue, please.
Well, on the stadium, it was inevitable this was going to happen. I mean, to think that this was not going to happen was pretty stupid. And the other thing, if they made that rash decision at the end of February to not extend the lease for the Oakland Coliseum, that was another stupid move. If you remember, Zenny, I said about maybe 2 months ago that I thought they should wait till March 31st because you never know what's going to happen. And obviously they didn't do that because I guess technically they had till April 1st to make a decision. Now look where they're at. I mean, they're stuck. To save face, they're going to have to, if the season, which I highly doubt is going to even take place at this point, happens, they're going to have to stay in Vegas and play somewhere there.
Either that or go head in hand and say, you know what, maybe we're going to have to renegotiate with the Coliseum because they can't play it at Sam Boyd Stadium. It's not ready. It takes too much money, and it's money they don't want to spend. Okay. And then
the only saving grace, if I could add my 2 cents real quick before I lose my train of thought, is what might work eventually to their advantage is this whole coronavirus situation. Nobody's making money. Cities are shut down. And then the Raiders come to Oakland and says, hey, you know what? If they come respectfully, right, and say, hey, we messed up. We apologize. We know you're in a bind. We're in a bind. Let's work something out. And we're going to offer you this. And if the city takes it, fine. If not, they're still stuck.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely will be an interesting. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Donald. Say again.
I think the blood is too bad already to do that.
Go ahead.
Like the Raiders and some of our council members have made it personal.
Yeah, Larry in particular. No, it's like in particular. Larry had basically said to Zenny 62 Media vlogger Charles Johnson when he was covering the Raider meeting for us that he wasn't there to support he wasn't there to support the Raiders. He was there to support the fans who had been so badly mistreated, excuse me, same thing. And he was quite, and then prior to that part of the meeting, Noel Gallo came up and said that the Raiders had 2 years. We get the extension, he says, then they're out of here, and that's it. And then, but clearly, there's a problem. I mean, have one tweet where one publication said positive test won't halt project, but that's not the point. The project has been severely slowed down as far back as March 16th. So there's a lot of misinformation put out there by people who just don't want to accept the fact that this thing has had problems from jump, and they've only gotten worse. And now, rather than tell us the truth, okay, about it, there's this consistent desire, which is really what's gotten them in trouble to begin with, to make it look like this thing's going to be finished. And it flies. It's a direct slap in the face of people who are suffering from the coronavirus, from a nation that needs to stop and pull itself together. And we've had, Lord knows, enough misinformation out about matters related to the virus. We don't need any more. So Richard Hike says if they can't play in Las Vegas and the Major League Baseball goes in December, like they're talking, the Raiders are SOL. JB says, I'm sorry. Yesterday I called Cam Robinson a bust. I got him mixed up with Greg Robinson. Rob Iman says, or go crawling to Jed York to play at Levi's at worst, which could happen. Richard Hike says MLB is floating, extending into December or later. And he says, yeah, Rob, that's the only real choice. J.O. says Oakland Raiders. Juan Ramirez writes, can't wait to see what happens to the lawsuit even more now, which will continue to the 16th of next month. And Norman Recklaw says, Noram Recklaw writes, I doubt Oakland will accept. And Juan Ramirez adds, the pandemic situation might be worse than the October shooting from several years ago, in 2000, specifically October 1st, 2017. And my response there is no comparison between that event and the coronavirus. Why? Because the coronavirus is a worldwide event. Whereas, as terrible as the shooting was, unquestionably 58 people were murdered, it was just in Las Vegas. So we have a situation. Oh, Juan Ramirez says financially speaking. No, even financially speaking, it wasn't the same, because financially speaking, I can tell you what the difference was. Financially speaking, after the shooting really had no impact on Vegas in the way that you think. It was high resort fees that had a bigger impact. Las Vegas was already losing visitors at a clip compared to the previous year, which was, admittedly a record year, all right? But it was losing them. And I want to stand corrected. It was October 1st of 2018. But this is it reduced what they got in terms of the stadium hotel tax by approximately 20%, but not any more than that. This is going to be an 80% or 90% reduction. That is a conservative estimate. The calculation I ran was based on a 12% occupancy rate, but there are a number of people who will tell you the occupancy rates are half that, like 6%. And if they're at 6%, then you're looking at a loss by the stadium authority month to month of $4 million. There was no forecast for this. Jeremy Aguilo got on and said, hey, you know what? We ran forecasts. We have enough of a debt service reserve to weather this storm. The trouble is, it's a 30-year bond issue. The bond debt goes up year to year by just under $1 million through 2029, 2029 each year. Meanwhile, Las Vegas visitor rates have stagnated and then declined. And now they are really not only rock bottom, but they're not going to just jump up like this overnight. There are 618,000 casino workers nationwide that are facing layoffs. As a percentage of the Las Vegas economy, Las Vegas casino workers are by far the largest segment of that economy. And so what they're going through and suffering, I pray that they get more than a $1,200 stimulus, because that's really not enough to do anything more than maybe sustain them a little bit when you consider rents. Okay, it's a great start. $2 trillion is the most we've spent in our history as a country, but I would prefer if it was 2.5 trillion because of the size of our economy and number of people that are impacted who need to get up and running. And then not only that, we have to consider this. Even if, and we are going to do this, we have to count on the rest of the world help doing its share to help its people too. Because we have ripple effects two ways, not just from us to the world, but the world to us. We're all infected. We're all literally infected by this and impacted by this. And so I'm going to read your comments now. And Robert Hempel asked, that stadium on time? Well, it has never been on time to begin with. Okay. And the reason why is that originally the stadium was supposed to be opened, all right, in May. The original completion date for the stadium was May of this year. Then it was moved back to June. Then it was moved to June, the last of June, and then it was moved to the last of July. Then it was moved to mid-August, and then for a tick, it was moved to mid-September until I took notice of the schedule, and they changed everything because the messaging got out, and they moved everything back to substantial completion July 31st. But given what they explained regarding shutting down all large-scale projects on March 16th, related to the coronavirus, there is no way, and especially now, they're going to achieve that objective. So all of this trying to ingratiate oneself with the Raiders by saying, oh, they're going to finish on time. Look, anybody who says that right off the bat is not telling the truth. The stadium is already late. It was late some time ago. And we need to stop this charade that, oh, it's on time, it's on time, it's on time. It's not. The one thing that we need to do right now is pray for the worker on both sites that was infected. And on top of that, we have to make absolutely certain, and I think this is even more important, that nobody else is infected. Okay? You got to test everybody now. That's the real deal about this project. You have to test everybody now. And they're not talking about that. It's like radio silence, but so far. But you have to test everybody now. I want to see what the governor has tweeted out, if anything. Sisolak. Black. Anybody else have a comment? Hello.
No, I got plenty of comments.
Hello.
But I think you were a little conservative on the layoff numbers and the loss of money.
Okay.
Because I think the layoff numbers are going to be a lot bigger than even what you gave, for the simple fact that if our economy is busted and people are off, who has time to go to Las Vegas when they open back up?
Right. That's it. I think you're absolutely right. And it's going to take them a year to and that delay is going to cut into what they have to spend for the stadium hotel tax. And so you could very well see, and it wouldn't surprise me, you could very well see the situation by a year from now where the stadium is looking at a depleted bond debt reserve. Okay. That now more than ever, particularly given this information about certain aspects of the stadium construction project having been shut down on the 16th of March, that now more than ever is obvious. So what they've tried to do basically is cosmetic. They said, okay, well, let's get the stuff up there that makes it look like it's, headed somewhere. Let's get the name in place. Let's get this in place. All right. But now they need to stop. Straight up, period, need to stop and get these people tested. Okay.
That is true.
This Nat on Twitter, he says insanely crazy Las Vegas stats. A person tests positive for COVID-19 in a homeless shelter. They close. Okay, they close. What is more, quote, necessary, unquote? I mean, that's the question of the day.
I can answer that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with money. And they get things done so that they can reap the rewards.
But if it's that may be, that's I don't disagree with you at all, Joseph. But what I think about when I hear that are two things. First of all, what is it that we're not being told about the workers? And are the other workers being tested as well? Okay. And I mean, listen to this. This is from Pro Football Talk. A construction worker at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas has tested positive for coronavirus, but construction will continue on the new home of the Raiders, with the stadium still scheduled to open this summer. Mortensen McCarthy, Mortensen McCarthy, the construction venture for the stadium, issued a statement Wednesday, which I read to you, and they end this with the 1.4 billion stadium, which is wrong. It's not 1.4 billion. It's over 2 billion. Will seat 65,000 seats with the ability to expand to 72,000. And there's no comment, which I find unbelievable. Okay. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They just don't seem to want to accept the fact that the thing has got a problem. And I don't know, who they're kidding. This is also UNLV Stadium, right? Hello, we got radio silence here. Say something. Don't be shy, folks. Don't be shy, folks. Hello.
No, it's definitely the Raiders Stadium. UNLV. I don't know. I thought they would have a bigger UNLV. I don't know. I thought they would have a bigger fork on the table, but I guess not.
They've been treated like a stepchild by the Raiders. I mean, just no two ways about it. And the only way to describe it is just that. And they have the law. If you read the law, the way it's supposed to be read straight out, the UNLV was supposed to have essentially first right of refusal, or the first say, okay, on stadium use, on activities that conflicted with its schedule. They were supposed to be the first to say, okay, we don't want that because it conflicts with this. But the Raiders turned it around on them and said, with respect to 2 dates in September, hey, we need those dates for concerts. They hadn't even budgeted time for those concerts at all. And they haven't budgeted time for those concerts. So now you have a situation where, among other things, there are only two events that have been, quote, a certainty, if you will, unquote, for this summer through fall, and that's Garth Brooks on the 22nd and Cal versus UNLV on the 29th, both in August. Now you'd have to say that given first the news that they stopped large-scale project on the 16th of March, and then second, this sad coronavirus news, you have to say both of those dates are up in the air. They would have to be. Because you have to stop. Here's the thing. I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. What you guys are going to say? Donald, what are you going to say?
Yeah, I know I read somewhere that for the Garth Brooks concert, that the promoters were already thinking about shipping it.
Shipping it?
Yeah.
What does that mean, shipping?
Like just pulling it. Yeah, okay. When they say, they mean like push it to another date or venue.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they would have to.
That's like
they would definitely happen. They would have to. And I'm looking at Vital Vegas. Vital Vegas, it says casino stations planning to reopen on May 1st. And then let's see here. I don't see Vital Vegas is using. Let me show you this, folks. This is hilarious. This is sadly hilarious. All right, Scott is using right here. He is using the video or the movie scene from Jaws, where the mayor of the town is basically saying that that August for Christmas, tomorrow, the 4th of July, for Christ's sakes, he says August, because that's when Brody wanted the beaches closed. And he says, for Christ's sakes, tomorrow is the 4th of July. And he writes, people.
I remember that thing.
Yeah, he writes, people weren't in danger if they stayed on the beach. Closing the beaches wasn't necessary. Prudent steps, not extremes. So it's the line is set. Fun facts in sports betting: fading means bet against something. In this case, fading the public means betting against the wrong people. And Vital Vegas chimed in. I think he says, Joe Lamort says, is this confirmed? And I think that to confirm he's talking about is Resorts World. And then on that, Vital Vegas he says, no, construction is still happening today. Tomorrow will be telling. And he has not weighed in on the Raiders situation. So I don't think that this is a hit. I think it's just hitting a lot of people what's happened. And I know this is it's a sad moment for those who are being affected. And again, I say this, and I can't stress this comment enough. I pray the workers are getting tested. Okay? Because if this guy had it, the question is, who else had it? All right? So Las Vegas locally has this up there, and there's a guy that reports this is fake news. Okay? Fake news. Not mine. This is what this person wrote on Las Vegas locally's Twitter account. Fake news. Okay? Then somebody else wrote fake news. And then so Sepp Yeager says, congratulations, America. We're closing in on number 1 in the world talking about coronavirus cases. And T-Pocalypse says construction shouldn't be essential. And Hugh Jassel has a meme of John Travolta in Pulp Fiction looking around like he's dumbfounded in that scene. And he says, Raider fans opening day, like, where, Then Dr. Bullcut says, replying to Las Vegas locally in Chris de Benedenti, here we go, that place is cursed. So irresponsible of the union and the Raiders to have them working during a lockdown. And Jami says, maybe they will shut it down, we can all go home finally. And Anthony Ziga says, I can't wait to read UNLV Rebel Girl comments. And this other person is doesn't necessarily mean he contracted the virus in the stadium. They pretty just admitted that
It doesn't matter. He was
working there. Yes, but I'm just reading to you. And you know, it's just like the out and out stupidity. Okay.
The rationale is retarded.
Yeah. And then Barbara Ulrich says, well, it doesn't matter where he contracted if he was spreading it in the stadium. Exactly. And Elbow says the governor called out the National Guard to hold the workers at Allegiant Stadium at gunpoint. He's so deep in corruption there. If that project doesn't open on time, he's out millions. He ordered building inspectors there as essential workers. Wow. Joby says, color me shocked. And it's Salazzo says it's really going to blank when our lockdown has to continue for another 3 weeks beyond the original 30 days because these construction sites have been spreading the virus around while we were all stuck at home doing nothing, which is the other point. You've had these folks going in there, okay, to work, right? This guy contracts it, then he takes it home. He took it home. He went home Friday. And it doesn't matter that he hasn't been back to work. He took it home Friday, which means somebody at this poor fellow's house, unless, of course, God help us, God willing for our survival, he lives alone. And then this other lady says, I can guarantee they're downplaying it. I agree with that. And this other one person says, gee, I'm shocked. Thank God he's working at an essential job. And so it's, you know, the Lucifer Smith writes, bye-bye Raiders. And somebody else says, well, blank. No, I mean, this is bad. We're finally getting to the point where these folks have realized this is 3 hours ago. And, you know, who knows what the comments were. That was just to Las Vegas locally. And the latest comments on this regarding Allegiant Stadium came 20 minutes ago. And this is the first one I've seen that was directed to Governor Sisolak. And it reads, Sisolak, I think it's because you are so unclear on how you present things. Take, in fact, your order of no more than 10 people gathering does not include workplaces such as Allegiant Stadium. I know you have a lot invested in that. And didn't someone just test positive? So, yeah, I mean, this is a worker at Las Vegas Raiders Stadium tests positive for coronavirus, excuse me. And so, yeah, there's no word of what the NFL is going to do here. I don't know if this is happening at SoFi Stadium or not. Let's see here. Anybody want to chime in? Hello?
Not on that. I mean, I think you said everything that needs to be said with that, and we kind of mentioned the same things over.
Mm-hmm. So, what would you do if you were the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell? What would your statement be?
That's a good question.
Donald?
What could his statement be? It's not in his hands. He has no.
I think the statement should be that the NFL is monitoring the Raiders situation and stands ready to assist on and stands ready to assist. That's what I think the Raiders, because the NFL statement should be, because the NFL, I can tell you right now, they're already being asked what they're going to do. Already. Right? We may not see it, but that's the question is, hey, what are you going to do about this? And owners are asking it. And I know one owner, I'm not going to say the person's name just because I don't want to put that person in a bad light unintentionally, but I know one owner who's basically looking at this situation and just thinking thoughts that have to do with, well, you know, I told you so. And, you know, it is.
I can tell you what I think. Mm-hmm. I can tell you what I think they should do with regards to trying to have the season continue. The smartest thing the NFL could do when it considers how many millions of fans they have and how many people all throughout the year are getting involved with the NFL can't wait for the draft, can't wait for the OTAs. What the NFL should do is be proactive and spend the money that they would normally spend on the draft, put it in information and resources to get out to all their fans and the public. If you want this season to continue, we want you to stay home and then break down the procedures they should follow about safe shelter at home, not interacting with other people, and not being complacent about it.
Yeah.
And I would encourage the NFL to do PSAs with athletes, with the pro ball players, because that's going to encourage those haphazard fans say, it's not really going to affect me, to say, wait a minute, let me take a step back. If I really want this to happen, I need to stay in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's absolutely, those are great points. Let me read the comments here because now we've got more people coming in here. We've got Richard Hike said 9/11, the 2008 recession, long-term competition, 10-1, and now the virus. He continues, does Richard. They just barely recovered from the recession. They have not covered from 10-1, MGM, Caesars win, and resorts, and this is going to last a while. Juan Ramirez says they are stuck waist deep with Davis for a while. And then Rob Iman says this is the Great Depression 2.0. I hope not. Richard Hike says could be the greater recession. There's no telling how much this is going to ruin the economy worldwide. Rob Iman adds they'll be adding $600 per week to unemployment benefits for the next 4 months as part of the stimulus. They need to add $600 per week. Well, that's $2,400. That's $2,400 a month. That's good. Okay. I hope you're right about that. Black Lion says Vegas is going to set themselves up for a lawsuit if they don't shut down the stadium as soon as possible. Black Lion, that's exactly the word I was looking for. Okay. Because they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. Joseph was bringing up the fact that they're on the hook for millions if they don't finish. Somebody else was as well. But the simple fact of the matter is now the Raiders have reached a fork in the road. If they keep going, they're going to get sued. If they stop and they're late, they're going to get, technically, they may get sued, but here's why I think that they would lose that lawsuit. Three words that generally apply to contracts, acts of God. I defy anybody to show me that this isn't, even if the virus turns out to be man-made, the spread of it is an act of God. Arguably, the virus being created in the way that it is still an act of God. So we've got Double D says, I believe the new definition of time is football ready for 2020 if we indeed have a season. Juan Ramirez says the layoff to several school districts here in Central California have been very high. I can't imagine how much educators will lose their jobs nationwide. Juan Ramirez writes, going to vacation is not even an option. I wonder how the financial impact due to convention events is to this point. And Black Lion says this is complete madness. I think that's the comment of the day. That applies to everything. Yeah. JB says I have not went outside in a month, and I went outside today, and I'm ordered to stay inside. Sorry. Double D says who ordered you to stay inside? Black Lion. Well, it's called shelter in place, and some people are enforcing shelter in place by citation. Some cities. Black Lion says exactly more than one worker has it for sure. Richard Hike says I tweeted that Stadium Electricians Union walked off the job today. I read that the Stadium Electricians Union walked off the job today. Richard, are you still there? Richard, hello. Who's here?
Donald and Joseph.
Donald.
Okay. He read a tweet that the Stadium Electricians Union walked off the job today. Let me see here. I wish people would send these tweets rather than, sometimes you have to consider the source. But let me see, Stadium Electricians Union. Okay. And Electricians Union pays protesters to intercept activists. That was 2012, excuse me. That's a late one. I'm working construction at the new Rams Stadium in Inglewood. The site is open and our employers labor unions are applying the exemptions for plumbers and electricians to continue working on the stadium. What the blank? I'm defying their suggestion that we work and opting to shelter in place. This is shelter in place now. He says, a Reb Porter, love you, by the way. Can you clearly... Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything that actually applies to Las Vegas Stadium. That's why it's important to read this, you know? I don't see anything that actually applies to it. I don't. So, yeah, I don't. The last one that was close was 2018, and that certainly doesn't apply to this situation right now. So I don't see that. Let's see, Las Vegas Stadium. Oh, there's stadium coronavirus is now a major tweet. Riverside County and isolation centers. And then of course here's the Raiders Stadium again. So and then this was 2 hours ago. Stadium construction will continue despite the coronavirus pandemic at SoFi Stadium. And yeah, so there's a number of examples here of situations around the world where stadium activities are impacted. And 39 seconds ago, Derek Ginville retweets the Review Journal story, which I refuse to read because I know what it's going to say. Nothing to see here. It's going to be fine. Nothing to see here. It's going to be fine. The simple fact of the matter is there is something to see here, and that we have there are workers in total should be tested. The simple fact that nobody's calling for that just shows you some of the problems with this project. And now reading your comments here, Black Lion says, I said from day one there's something shady, there's some shady people behind this project. And Corey Brown writes, before he knew he had it, I'm sure he went to grocery shopping, bank, etc. And how you doing, PJ? Mason Riggs says, NFL trying to link the draft with funds for COVID-19, but if they really cared, maybe they would push everything back. Great point. Double D says, let me guess, the owner is Stephen Ross. JB says, I wonder what I'm going to do if there is no sports for a year. I think I'll go outside. Wait, I can't go outside. JB says, imagine if they play a football game with no fans. Well, hey, it's called a studio, something that people talked about for years. Andre Price says the stadium will be ready. You guys are reporting false news, maybe because you don't want to see it because it's not in Oakland. You know, I don't know what is wrong with people like that. I really
know of it, but I haven't seen it.
All right, Monty Python and the Holy Grail has this famous scene where the knight, King Arthur, is being challenged by the Black Knight. He shall come this way, shall not pass. And so King Arthur takes him on. And to make a long story short, King Arthur lops off his right arm. And the Black Knight says, that's just a flesh wound, nothing. And they keep fighting, and then King Arthur lops off his other arm. And he says, look, you've got no arms. He goes, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's just a flesh wound. Come on now, keep fighting. So the guy's trying to fight him with no arms. So King Arthur basically obliges and cuts off one leg. And he's on the ground. But he's still challenging him. Come on, keep fighting. Come on, keep fighting. He's got no fists either, okay? So King Arthur lops off his other leg. He's got nothing. And he says, it's just a flesh wound. Come back, I say. You coward. You coward. That's what this sounds like. That's what this dude sounds like. You know, look. I don't understand where people get off with this denying reality thing. I just don't. I mean, how, you know, I'm not even going to ask what your real affiliation is. I don't want to know. I'm afraid I don't want to know. Okay. Richard Hike says, boy, I realized I was 2 minutes behind. I paused. John Akala, hey, John, how you doing? John writes, hello. Even though construction is considered essential, they need to delay the construction even though they said he wasn't near their other workers. Black Lion says, shaking my head. Mason Riggs says, class, yeah, you shall not pass this bridge. Thank you, Mason. Let me see if I can try to get Mason in, because I tried to call him earlier, but now that he's typing, it means he is of active mind, is what it means. So hold on a second. See if I can add him to the call here. How I would do this. Press that. And we would add a call and add calling. Okay. So now this is calling. Mason, you're being called.
Hello.
Hey, Mason, welcome. You've joined us, which means two things. A, you're
How's it
here.
going, guys?
And B, I did it right. Welcome. We're on with Joseph, Donald, Richard Hike was supposed to be on, but actually it's the four of us, counting myself. So, Mason, what do you think about all this?
Joseph. Hi, Donald.
And thank you for remembering.
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you for remembering the line from the Holy Grail.
Yes, no worries. A classic movie.
One of my favorites.
It's just kind of sad, that it's still continuing, that they find this essential. People's lives, family members, potentially at risk. And if you're going to go through all this trouble to try to get people locked down and stay in homes, it's a little foolish to be sending people to a construction site. And even if they're not practicing social distancing, and if they're going to start doing it now, it's a little too late. Because it's already, someone's got it, and that's a big site to clean, and it just seems negligent to me.
Yeah. Mason Riggs, by the way, is our newest Zenny62 vlogger. I mean, I just have to. I really can't emphasize this enough. I'm praying for the worker that has this, but I pray for all the workers on the stadium site, because all of them need to be tested. All of them. And God forbid it's found that more than one has this, because there's going to be hell to pay if that's the case. Not only here, but also with the resorts world. And you may have people working on one project and then the other, carrying this from one site to the other. So this thing is really messed up. It really is. And it really is. And so a situation that was on the precipice of being bad is now bad. No other way about it. And this PE in a confined space is more dangerous than being outside doing construction with PPE. Where are we truly safe? That's a great question. My mom and I go to the bank, and Bank of America, I have a video I haven't put up yet. They practice social distancing in the line. They have you standing on, and some people don't pay much attention to it today, but they have you standing on these cards. Yeah. And my mom had a mask, and I heard someone sneezing. Actually, one of the workers, I was sneezing. I thought, oh no. And she was 30 feet away, but I'm thinking, no. And she wasn't wearing a mask. I'm thinking, no. Okay. So I can't emphasize this enough. Maintain your ability to be immune to this thing. Drink black tea. Get your rest. Don't overwork yourself. Lay off the alcohol, because alcohol will drain your immune system. Just letting you know, you want a cocktail, wait until we're okay. Because that's the other thing. Of the people that are getting this, we don't know how many people were just consistently drinking. And so I'm saying, you know what? Lay off the alcohol, because alcohol saps the vitamins from your system, particularly vitamin B. Okay. And Black Lion added no smoking. All right. No smoking. That's right. No smoking. And so JB says, I am hoping the Raiders do not play a game in an undone stadium. we're getting to a point where I don't think we're going to see a season this year. Well, because you have scheduled games that are supposed to be played there. JB says Space Jam will never be the same. Black Lion says if that worker or any worker from the stadium dies from the coronavirus, Vegas will never live it down. That's really true. Larger Gruel says the coronavirus is like the killer rabbit of Carabonon. Run for your lives, run away. Black Lion says no smoking. Rob Iman adds no vaping, which is also a problem in Vegas. No vaping. So, hey, we've talked about this now, I think, for almost an hour. I want to go for 5 more minutes and then stop because I've been going online for a while and my voice is starting to creak out. We can pick this up tomorrow. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
I just want to add that the CDC released a report, I believe, about 4 days ago or so, and it was detailing the cases of confirmed COVID-19 in America over the last month. And I don't have the exact percentage down. I've written it down earlier. I believe the CDC confirmed about just under 50% of people admitted to the ICU were under the age of 65, I believe. So just because you're not necessarily an elder, you can still be, very impacted by this disease that is going around, the sickness, and doesn't mean the death tolls are lower for younger people because obviously they're able to recover better than the elders. But almost 50% are under the age of 65 that have been in ICUs.
Wow.
So very serious. This has come to CDC, reputable source, obviously, and it's not the last month.
My God.
But they did it. All the cases in the United States.
Oh, my gosh. Anybody else? Thank you for that.
No, I think it's just obvious that it looks like major businesses, specifically entertainment businesses, whether they be movie theaters, theme parks, of that sort, have all projected to at least hold down till June or July. So when you consider that the stadium's already 4 months behind, and on top of that, add another, theoretically April, May, June, 3 more months on top of that, that's 7 months behind they are on finishing the stadium if they were to stop relatively soon and continuing the construction. So now that's just the Raiders itself, but in general, think about the psychological aspects. Would people want to start to go to the stadium? Let's say, for whatever reason, say, we're just going to start the season and hopefully people come. No, because that's a dilemma. If you read an article by Disney Corporation, I'm a Disney guy, so I follow that news, is that they're in a quandary to what to do when they decide to open, because people usually pack like rats, one on top of each other in the line for the rides, and they don't know what to do, according to the article, because how are they going to alleviate lines and allow people to go inside the rides if they're, they're in a quandary with that. They don't know if they should limit the amount of people into the park, if they should have some kind of virtual queue throughout the whole park, which up to now, at least in Disneyland, doesn't exist. There's a few rides that have a virtual queue. But even with the virtual queue, people start lining up. And again, you'll have the same potential dilemma.
By the way, Mason Riggs informs, he says, I'm going to live stream an update on the Raiders free agency shortly after this video, hoping to see some of you all. So if you guys want to join Mason, keep note. Mason, are you going to do that here or on your site? You're welcome to do it here.
I'm going to do it on yours. Yeah, Zenny
cool.
62.
Thank you. Awesome. Because I can get some rest. Thank you. I can get some rest because Lord knows I need it. Although what I may do is I may rest for 30 minutes and then come back and see if you're on and chime in. Or I might see if you're on and chime in by the phone.
I'll still be going.
Cool. So you guys can definitely do that. Now, I want to get this off my chest. I just read something today, and I'm just going to call this out. I'm not going to call out the publication, just what this person wrote. That with the virus still a major concern around the world, additional precautions, including social distancing for work on the site, have been instituted since the pandemic's stranglehold on the local economy. Allegiant Stadium is slated to be substantially completed by July 31st, 2020, and many thought the pandemic would threaten that timeline. The problem is that if you listen to the Mortensen McCarthy statement, it did. And it's not a statement that he put here, okay? But the Mortensen McCarthy statement said specifically that they had cut back on work starting on March 16th. It's in black and white. Mortensen McCarthy did not put their statement on Twitter, by the way. Their latest tweet is still March 6th, when they were celebrating Women in Construction Week. They said nothing about the pandemic, nothing. If you go to their website, which is what I'm doing right now, and that's really horrible. They ought to simply deal with the problem, and not only
Reality.
that, deal with reality. And not only that, when you click on the URL for their website, you click on a link to their website, you don't even get their website. So, oh boy, let's see, Mortensen McCarthy here. I don't know if they took I'm not going to think they took the website down. Let's see how this works another way. But it wasn't there. Mortensen, here is Mortensen.com. Oh, here it is. Here's the website. They just had the wrong URL up there. So there's Allegiant Stadium. This is what it looks like, folks, on the Mortensen website. Okay, with the Raiderettes displayed front and center, and it says about, no statement about the worker or anything like that. And that's it. Yeah, nothing. So nothing. But this is truly a tragedy, folks. And so in closing, I pray for the worker, and I pray for the workers to get tested. I really pray for the workers to get tested. Oh, there is one more tweeter I have to check. I have to see what Jedi Rich and Jedi Joy are saying, if anything. Jedi Rich and Jedi Joy are this husband and wife photography family, if you will, that it first was tweeting in. They were tweeting information about the stadium that you couldn't find anywhere else. And so what they have now is tweets on it's a pin tweet. What will they do when people come back? They won't unless the Jedi do something. Here's something. Enjoy yourself. I won't show you that. And they have tweets that have nothing to do with the stadium. So I guess they've avoided the project, but avoided talking about it. I hope they're doing well, because I'm a little concerned about them and their well-being. Yeah. So let's see what else is there. Denzel Washington, for some reason, all of a sudden is turned up as a top trend. Hopefully he's okay. Let's find out real quick. And I can't see what's going on. And I tweet quotes that will challenge and motivate you, he says. No, that's not it. Okay, here, good. When you see Denzel Washington trending and realize it has nothing to do with the coronavirus. Good. So this is what you see, this meme that we've probably seen all the time, that somebody expresses relief. There it is, relief. Okay. And I certainly hope we can get that kind of news for the gentleman that has been impacted by. Hey, by the way, the stimulus package just passed the Senate. Onward, folks.
Awesome.
Onward. Onward through the fog. Let's hope that we can see clear day. So remember, Mason, same bat channel, and then I'll follow up with the rest of you on Skype in a second. Thank you, everybody who's oh, by the way, hold on a second. Barry Lee. Hey, Barry Lee, I want to get these comments in before I stop. John Akala, hold on a second. And Richard Hike says, did you see that Kaiser in San Jose estimates that more than half the hospital is infected? No. And Jose Walker says, Jess Walker says, I got a bad feeling for a lot of people. They're going to force everything to open up before we're ready to save the economy. John Akala says, what are the consequences if they don't finish the stadium on time? There's fines that I think have to do, they accrue to $5 million a day for every day they're late. And Black Lion says, hold your breath for 10 seconds. If you don't start coughing, your lungs are free from the coronavirus. Hold your breath for 10 seconds. If you don't stop coughing, your lungs are free from the coronavirus. Okay, I'll take that test on camera. Ready? Go. Someone start the countdown. Let me know. Hello?
No coffee, no words.
Okay, what was the Mississippi truth?
You could have
You
kept
wanted to count
counting. I was still holding my breath. I'm fine. Is that really true? Black Lion says, hold your breath for 10 seconds. I went on for 20 seconds. You guys stopped counting. I didn't say stop counting. I just said count. Just count. I didn't say you had to stop.
Oh, that was my fault. That was Mason's fault. I was the counter.
All right. Yeah. Black Lion, where'd you get that from? Don't hold your, he says, hold your breath for 10 seconds. If you don't stop, he says Raiders might have to forfeit the season or play in a different season. Corey says the NFL can't put out a 2020 schedule yet. Correct. Barry Lee, he is a smooth casino legend kind of guy who gets information from all areas and all places, okay, and makes a determination based on what he's told and what he asks. So there you go. God bless us all. God bless us all. All right, folks, in the stream, remember, Mason Riggs here at Zenny62 on YouTube in minutes. See ya. I'm done.